October?
Because this is my last one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Calling a meeting to adjourn, not adjourn.
Let's go.
Before we start, the Park Board of the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas will meet in a regular meeting in City Hall Council Chambers located at 1716 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, on Monday, September 8th, 2025 at 4:00 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Roll call to my right.
Shelby present?
Reed present.
Desitel present.
Damiano present. We have a quorum. New business, 3A, consider and take action to approve the August 11th, 2025 meeting minutes. Ms. Elga?
Yes, I move that unless there's any discussion or questions.
Wait, I had a
or
comment.
Comments, yes.
And it may be something that dropped off. The list of stuff that we were going to spend the money on, I didn't see the screen around the dog park dugout.
Oh,
Did
was it not in there?
it wasn't in the minutes. Did it end up on the list? Okay, so it's minor. I mainly wanted to check
But
and see if
still,
it dropped.
yeah, no, it's still
So-
important. Okay,
So we could, I move we accept the minutes with the modification of adding the, under
Screen-
shade structure, yeah.
Okay,
Under the
shade.
screens include the dog park dugout.
Okay, shade structure around the dog park. Thank you for bringing that up.
Sure.
Okay, so, okay.
Okay. We're going to skip 3B until the Eagle Scout arrives.
Awesome.
Okay. 3C, update and discussion on recent purchases for the park. So I know it has Damiano here, but I'll ask you, because has everything come in?
Not everything has come in. I believe the tennis screens are here. I believe the dog park screens are here. Perryweather is in process and benches are both in process. So they may take a little longer to arrive. It's not a big deal. I have the PO open for those two projects. So as long as they're ordered, if they arrive after 10/1, it's not the end of the world. But we were able to immediately order, and I believe they have everything. I have not talked to Mike today. I believe they received everything mid last week for the tennis screens
Nice.
and for the dog park.
Good.
So
Okay. So,
those should be getting installed
okay.
now that we have them, they'll schedule a day to go out and get
Sure.
everything installed. They had, last Thursday, they had ordered, some specific bungee cords to attach the screens.
Uh-huh.
One of the challenges you have is if we get a really big wind out there, they'll
Yeah.
take down the whole fence.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened the last time. We got one big wind, it destroyed them, and they just never
Yeah.
replaced them because of the cost, and
Right.
people were complaining about them. These are a little different. Those went bottom rail to top rail.
Right.
We ordered something a little bit so that there's some wind below and above, but they wanted to try, so they ordered out of their budget some bungee cords that lock. I don't really know that I understand, but would give a little bit of
Yeah.
leeway. They won't sag, but it'll give a little bit of leeway if you get a 75-mile-an-hour wind for that screen to give a little bit without knocking the entire fence down. So
Okay.
they wanted to try those instead of the metal hooks, and I told them that was fine if they wanted to try that.
Sure.
So they had ordered those last Wednesday or Thursday, and we're waiting on them to come in.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah,
Good.
so they'll get that installed. They'll use that in all the places. We ordered the tennis screens I showed you right off of Amazon, actually.
Yeah.
That was by far the best price. And then we ordered smaller screens for the dugouts of the dog park. So
Okay.
similar, but just a smaller version.
Yeah.
So
Great. So also the benches, how long does it take to get those in?
I have not heard an update. It
Okay.
typically takes 4 to 6 weeks for them
Yeah.
to come.
Okay.
But I have not heard an update. I just know that they ordered them.
Yeah.
And then the Perryweather We process their invoice on Friday, so we will pay them, and then I have an onboarding call with them I need to schedule this week. I'll be out tomorrow. Tomorrow's Grandparents' Day at Tristan School, so Rachel's going to have lunch with my baby. But then we'll check in Wednesday or Thursday and get that call scheduled so we can kind of do the onboarding, and then they'll ship us the equipment.
Good, good,
So-
okay. And the other thing is that we need to be thinking about where we're gonna put these 2 benches around the park.
Yes.
Does anyone have any ideas of where we have a need for that? I know we're good right over around the butterfly garden. I think there's 2 over there, so we're good there, but, any ideas? Do we need any around the tennis courts or around the dog park area? Does anyone know?
There's 1 or 2 on the parking lot side of the tennis courts. At the same time, it's not unusual to see people out there in lawn chairs.
Lawn chairs, yeah.
Dog park, each dog park has 2 benches in it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we followed the walking trail around, if we wouldn't see something along there.
Well, I noticed one area this morning. I had to go water the butterfly garden, but it's on the other side at the foot of where the softball fields are, and there's a long, from the parking area on toward the tennis courts. I don't believe there's one right there in the middle, right there.
Yep.
So that's a possibility. But
I'm the kind of guy that doesn't mind if there's one every 10 feet, so I'll get it from one and go, oh, we need another.
That would probably be good, and then maybe,
What about around the pavilion or the playground?
and
there-
the trail doesn't really go over there so much, but, I mean, we could, that's an option too. Is over, we've got picnic tables under the pavilion, so,
Is there a bench out by
I don't
that
know.
playground?
I would have to go look.
There is.
I think
I
there
know there's
is,
one by the
yes.
concession, so there's one by the pavilion playground also.
Okay.
I think so, but I can't promise that, so.
I haven't been around the dog park lately, so I don't remember if there's a need for one around the dog park. Anyone know?
Well, each one has a dugout bench and then another
Yeah.
bench out in the yard part.
Yeah.
So they each have
So
2.
probably not.
Yeah, I think that one's okay.
Okay. All right, well, I'll go and look around again tomorrow. I just went to part of the park, so.
But I know they just installed some of those with shade too. There's one down kind of by
Right.
the workout equipment. So you might have a good place between where that trail splits at the workout equipment and that parking lot.
Right.
But then you've got those covered tables right there too, so I
Yeah.
can also ask the guys if you want, we can put it on the next meeting
Sure.
and
Yeah,
to firm up a location if you want.
yeah.
Okay.
What their recommendation would be, they see
Yeah.
the traffic out there all day, so.
Absolutely. That would
Kinda.
be, okay.
I
That would be
also
good.
don't know about the backside, like in between where the street barn is and where the tennis court is on the horseshoe pit side. I don't know if there's any benches along there either, right
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
I don't think there is back there as
That
it
would be
goes
a great
around.
place
And
to
there
have one
could
as
be a
well.
location that's like half trail, half
Yeah.
it also for the
Yeah.
disc golfers.
Disc
you know.
golf would have easy access to it too. So, I don't know. I don't think there's any right there along that sidewalk, because I just drove it a lot in a golf cart on July,
Yeah.
at July Fest up and down that, and I don't think there's one there, but that might be we would have to figure out how to set it on one place or another, so that maybe right under one of those light poles,
Yeah,
but
okay. Okay.
where we have that gap would probably be the most beneficial, so,
Or even around the pond.
yeah. I
don't
think there
know.
is a covered bench, there's something up there,
Yeah, there's a bench and then there's kind of the deck.
yeah.
The deck, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
that'd
was
be
thinking
another
about
place.
that too. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, but if y'all wanna think about it, look at it, decide, let me know.
Sure,
We
okay.
can talk some more about it.
Okay. Sounds good. 3D, discussion regarding future grants. So, I mean, I put that on there because I don't want us to lose track on this, but, And also, I mean, do you have any input as far as anything coming up that we might be interested in, or?
The next grant, as far as the ones we've kind of looked at, the next
Yeah.
one that's up is going to be the Lowe's one. It's in January, so there's some time on that. That one, it's not for, they don't want like a specific group to benefit, it needs to benefit the entire community. So
Okay.
like, I don't think they would do pickleball, they've never done like a basketball court or
Yeah.
a volleyball court, something like that for
Okay.
past projects, but they've done community trail stuff, and they've also done a couple playground things. So I didn't know if we wanted to go for benches with shade around the trail or like big
Yeah,
shade cover
Uh-huh.
over the playground, or kind of what we wanted to set that for.
yeah,
I've started working on the application just with those things, but
Awesome,
we can
okay.
kind of put it in for whatever.
is there a set amount?
Under 100,000,
Okay.
but
Okay,
it kind of seemed to vary.
yeah, yeah, okay,
And they've done a big variation of projects, a lot of Habitat for Humanity, cleaning up old parks, and just
okay,
huge variance. But it was all just kind of broad for the whole community, not a
Right.
specific group is what they try to focus on.
mm-hmm,
But
okay. All right. Are there any others that you're aware of, in addition to that one, like after the first of the year, or
The
that we
next
can
one
prepare
after that
for?
would be the Parks and Rec, Texas Parks and Rec.
Okay.
The trail grant.
And that's the
park grant.
big one, isn't it? Yeah,
Those start in, I believe it's
Yeah.
May.
okay, okay. Would we need, I mean, where are we on the trails as far as that goes? I mean, or do we not need a grant for that, or
We
where are we with
always need a
that?
grant for that, so
Yeah.
even if we did it in-house, it's still got an expense associated with it.
Yeah.
So, the more money you have, the more we do, right?
Mhm.
Because they're gonna try to use the, asphalt millings and Portland cement and try to, but they're only gonna get as far as they get as they have a little bit of money available to do that. That's something we're gonna do when the weather cools off. We're not mowing as much. Right now, we're mowing so much with 2 full-timers and 2 part-timers. That's all they do pretty much all week long is mow,
Yeah.
because they also mow city facilities too. So they're waiting for it to cool off a little bit to get that project really where he could dedicate more resources to try to get more done. Trails are always a good thing, because all we're gonna try to do is go through where it's kind of crushed granite and put this in, but then you have a lot of your trails are asphalt that are all growing up and cracked and falling off. You could replace some of those with a trail grant. What would I think help the grant committee is to know kind of what do you want to focus on, so we can start putting pricing together to help that happen, right? So like with the Lowe's grant, what do we want to ask for, right? A shade cover over the playground, a bigger playground, more equipment, expand it and cover it.
Yeah.
You got a lot of options there on things that you can do, but it would probably help them, because really, before they do anything, they got to know what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it can take us a little bit of time, and then to better understand, like with Lowe's, what do they need from the city? Because if it's due in January, we need to know in October so we can start making sure that's on an agenda. If they need a resolution, and we can get good prices, and so
And
I
from
mean,
what I've seen on that one, you don't need a resolution or anything, it's just you're nominating the project. So it's
Okay.
anybody can go in and nominate it, and so you
And-
just submit the nomination.
and it's not matching?
It's not matching,
Okay.
and the city doesn't need to sign
Okay.
off on it. It just needs to be
Yeah.
either a nonprofit or a government organization that it's
Okay.
going through.
Okay,
You kind of said under 100,000, are there, do they seem to kind of center around a certain amount?
Not from what I can tell.
Okay.
It wasn't very specific on the
Okay.
online.
When we-
Some seemed like it was just a couple raised beds that they put into a garden, and others were,
Yeah.
they completely rehabbed a foster home. So it's, kind of both both ends of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the hometown grant?
Yes.
So I know we had a lot of discussions about shade structures, and I know that's a comment that comes in, and I'm trying to remember when we were talking about shade structures, I think the numbers we were seeing were like 30-ish. For-
If memory serves me right, for like a 10 by 10, you're looking at about $5,000, $5 to $6,000, if memory serves me right,
Yeah.
right? Now, the higher and bigger you go, yeah, that's probably. I could get you some more information. It is the Lowe's Hometown Grant. It looks like they have done Affordable Housing Alliance, they've done the Alaska Zoo, they've done a first aid station, America's Vet Dogs, they've done the Armed Services YMCA, they've done a few YMCA. Billings Head Start, they did raised beds, Boys and Girls Clubs. So I don't know, like what all I can't, if y'all want to look at it and see kind of what do they need. Is it a project we already have to have and then people have to vote on it? I don't know.
No.
Okay. They've done women's shelters. Flooring in women's shelters. They did a preschool. See, install new flooring, paint interior and exterior of our building. Have they done any parks grants?
They've done a couple, like community parks.
There's a lot of garden stuff here, which would be a lot of fun. I was trying to see if I could find like a playground they had done.
I think at the top you can filter it by like playgrounds.
Just to give you some ideas. Let's see. Boys and Girls Club, Head Start, here's a playground. Champion House of Care provides personalized support for individuals of intellectual and development disabilities. The Lowe's Hometown Grant will update the organization's playground equipment to be more inclusive and enjoyable for children of all abilities. So, San Antonio, Aid the Silent. It is major improvements to better serve deaf and hard of hearing children. There are new sidewalks, a patio, a playground. So, it looks like they aid organizations more than cities. But, I mean, we just need to look into that and make sure. Because most of these appear to be Osceola, Arkansas. The community wishes to build a playground. That's one that's actually a community. So there's some in there.
When we apply for this grant, do we have an idea yet about how much money it's going to take to, let's say, do the walking trail?
I could probably get us, that's what I'm saying, I can get us some of those numbers.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah.
if we did this, what would this cost? And if we did this.
Yeah.
I had Mike get numbers on, if we did it all asphalt, what would it cost? If we did it all
Yeah.
concrete, what would it cost?
Yeah,
So, I know what that number is.
right.
Um,
I mean, if it was enough to do the walking trail and then redo the tennis court, that would be amazing.
yeah,
While I was down there today watering, two ladies were walking on the walking trail from the Silver, what's it called?
Silver Sneakers.
Silver Sneakers. They lived in those apartments back there, and they mentioned they had trouble walking on that trail, especially
Yeah.
down in that area. So I don't know, I would love to see us be able to do that at some point.
Yeah, yeah. And they're working on it. They had to do that drainage first, and that drainage
Yeah.
made it worse, better than better, just
Yeah.
because anytime you do drainage, then you have to
Right.
deal with the settle. It has to settle
Yeah.
for a while. You
Yeah.
see that in roads too. Anytime
Yeah.
they cut a road, it's got to settle for a little bit before you
Yeah.
can go in and make improvements to it. Otherwise, you just end up with some vacant space, an
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
abyss down underneath it. But
So are we thinking the asphalt millings and cement is gonna cover all of the trail that's not asphalt right now?
I don't think so. I think they're gonna get, and it's hard to tell because until we start doing bigger sections of it, one little bitty section was
Right.
just kind of the test, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had to kind of learn. And we have a lot of asphalt millings. The problem is we don't have a lot of fine asphalt millings. It's very, very time consuming because they have to screen it and get the little stuff out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's, I mean, they just milled this road up and dumped
Sure.
it. So a lot of it is in big chunks, so.
Yeah.
It just takes a little longer to go through it all. So it
Okay.
is a solution that will help us bridge that gap, but
Sure.
if we could get a grant for a trail, that kind of solves that problem because
Sure.
then they just will cement it, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
So for this Lowe's grant, what specifically do we want to be on there?
And you said that one is 100? I mean, my question is, I mean, I don't know if the walking trail is going to be more than 100.
Yeah.
So, that would be good to know in
well, you can
applying
always do
specifically.
pieces, right? I mean.
You can?
If you could say $80,000 and do as far as I can tell you how far that will do.
Yeah.
Right? Mike could tell us how far that would do. But these are conversations we need to start having now because they really can't start any of their, they shouldn't start any of their application process until we know what project we want to target for that.
Sure, sure.
So. They have like an executive summary, it's the 2024 one. It says 90, in 2024, 90 communities in 44 states and Washington DC benefited from a grant. I'm sure they're gonna want to know how many volunteers are involved and,
What is the deadline?
January.
Okay.
And it seems like the application for this one's fairly easy, and
Okay.
then if they accept you, there's more
Yeah.
screening
Okay.
further on, but the application's not
Sure.
too lengthy on this
Okay.
one, but later on we'll require more
Yeah.
information.
Okay. What do y'all think about, the project being for that, the walking trail?
Okay. Do we want to do just the trail, or do we want to add like some benches with shade around it too?
If we have the money?
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if the walking trail's gonna take up the whole 100,000.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if there's money left over, that would be great to apply it to that. Covered
Okay.
benches, yeah.
And it almost sounded like some of those grants that they talked about were for accessibility or for with handicap in mind or anything like that. And I don't know whether that, in a sense, what we're trying to do, the walking trails or that, because I don't know that they're going to be wheelchair accessible with what we put on there, but they're potential tripping hazards as they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be 2024, but it says, community improvement projects must meet the following requirements. Must be capable of being sponsored by a nonprofit or a government entity. Benefit the community as a whole as opposed to a small group or individual. Must involve making physical improvement or enhancements. Must fall into one of the following categories: community centers and services, youth centers, senior citizen centers, veteran centers, safe affordable housing, homeless shelters, tiny home villages, first responder facilities, fire stations, police stations, community revitalization, community park, community garden renovations to the Plaza Historic Theater. So you got that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Must not benefit or sponsor a single individual, someone that needs their home repaired. Must not sponsor community sports teams, activities, or events. Must be able to be completed on or before November the 14th. Now this again is the 2024. They haven't released the 2025 stuff.
Yeah, it's between July and November, you have to be able to complete it.
Oh. Okay.
So it's like a month, starting in January, a month for applications, then they finalize it, done between a couple, and then I guess the projects all start in July, and they need to be completed before November, which seems like a.
Oh, that's
plenty of
sufficient,
time.
yeah.
It says nominators, this is what you have to have. Nominators first and complete last name, phone number, email address, name of the nonprofit that will lead the community involvement project, contact information for the nonprofit, community improvement project location, description of the community improvement project work that needs to be done, why the community improvement project is important to the nominator, current status of the community improvement project, whether or not the project can be started and completed between July and November, how the grant funds will be used, and the estimated cost. So,
Can that project be done within that timeline? I mean, my question is, would it be done by the staff? Or is that something that we'd hire somebody to come in and do?
we would hire a third party to do that
Yeah,
with the grant.
I would think so.
There's a lot of grant management that goes along with it. I don't know about their reporting process, but there is a lot of grant management that goes along with getting those funds.
Yeah.
So sometimes we can do small things, but if we were gonna redo the trail for $100,000, we would try to outsource that, to have somebody sweep in, do a
Yeah.
section of trail.
And from what I understand, Lowe's tries to use their employees and
Oh.
their stuff too.
Yeah, it
Okay.
looks like a lot of it is about volunteers and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, we could do that. We would hire. It says it's 2 rounds. The first round is the nomination period. The eligible submissions will be judged by a panel of qualified judges comprised of employees of Lowe's and its third-party vendor. They're looking at degree of community impact, demonstrated need, feasibility, and inspiration. Then there's the second round where they will get some additional information from the finalists and additional information obtained in the following criteria and select up to 100 submissions to be potential grant recipients. The balanced number of community improvement projects in urban and rural communities, the diverse geographic reach across the United States, the economic impact on the community served, the willingness of a nonprofit or government entity to facilitate and oversee the project, and the ability to complete the project before mid-November.
Okay.
So, just a little more information, so. And again, that's their 2024 handout,
Yeah.
so.
When-
It says
when-
2025, but it was January of 2025.
When can we expect them to publish the 2025?
I think the period opens, well, this one opened January 21st, 2025, and you had to have it all submitted by February the 18th of 2025.
Okay.
The program is open to legal residents of the 50 United States and District of Columbia who are at least 21 years of age or older at the time of nomination. Each eligible entrant is a nominator. Does make you wonder if you pick a project and everybody nominated it, what happens? Right?
It
Because it's not
specifically says not to do that.
it's not really a grant project. It's odd. So, it'll just be interesting once their stuff comes out, but we really have to be ready, because then you only have one meeting
Yeah.
in there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Any other questions or input on grants?
Okay, so I guess we'll focus on doing the trail, and if we got some money, a couple
Yeah.
benches with shade.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
want to take a vote? Should we take a vote on that?
We can. I move that we try to move forward with the Lowe's grant for trail updates.
I'll second. Okay. Voting to my right,
Shelby, yes?
Radios.
Desatel, yes.
and Damiano, yes. Okay. 3E, discussion regarding FY 2025 through 26 park budget and future projects, purchases, or events. And so we'll be getting a 10,000, is that correct? 10,000 in October?
I believe
So-
budget has not been finalized.
Sure,
but-
sure. Okay. I would really like us to figure out, what we're going to, some projects that we'd like to spend, spend some of that money or spend that money on for the next year. I'd like to put this on the next agenda when we have also our new additions on the park board. And so we can talk about future projects and what we're going to purchase. And go forward with that. Did you have any ideas on that?
As far as a place to spend money, I know one of the things that we've kind of kicked around some, but I think somewhere having, I don't know what to call it, a communication station or a show board or a sign board, something that could have information on upcoming events. It could have park rules posted, depending on where it is. Maybe it would show, an overview of a map of the park
Yeah.
and where the locations of stuff are. We do have a show board over in the concession stand area, and that's something that we could probably, make bigger use of. But just from our budget standpoint, that seems something that could easily fit inside that budget, that we could have
Yeah.
something somewhere,
Sure.
little shaded thing that could give some information.
Sure. We had talked about that briefly, I believe, a good while ago, about one over there near the pavilion,
Yeah.
something similar to that. So,
On events, I've been a proponent of us trying to figure out an annual event that the park board does every year. I guess it was the last meeting, Angie brought up Arbor Day. So I spent some time, not long enough ago, but I spent some time just kind of looking into Arbor Day festivals. I did almost exclusively my research by looking at the Arbor Day Foundation.org site.
This place.
And I collected some notes, and then I talked to a friend of mine never mind. That's what I asked Janet if she could print, just because I write a lot.
what date is that?
So in Texas, it's either November 1st or the first Friday in November, depending on what AI site tells you. Nationally, it's in April, but states adopt other ones because it's meant to coincide with kind of the best time to plant trees in your area. So we're kind of November 1st, which I think for 2025, we're too late to
Yeah,
do
we're too
much.
late.
We could, if we wanted to scramble, we could have like a tree planting celebration in the park. Some cities have just done it, they're putting in a tree, maybe they're dedicating it to something, they invite the public, that could go together pretty quick. But what I think, it going forward, that we would want a tree disbursement type of deal, where we invite the public in, and for as long as they last, we'll hand them a little seedling tree that they can take home and plant. And then maybe we have speakers that talk about how to plant trees, talk about trees in general.
like that.
That all that be a cost out of our budget, but
Sure.
I think we could make that up pretty quickly with, but we turn it into an event, so we'll
Yeah.
have food trucks and craft booths or.
That's awesome.
Or
I
whatever,
like that.
just do something like that. And the Arbor Day Foundation, it gets complicated because the Arbor Day Foundation is one place you can get those seedlings. they'll sell you 50 for $79. You put in your hardiness zone, you tell them how many you want, you pick out what trees you want. And that part of what I put on here, all of this information here is like the trees that they recommend for our zone,
Yeah.
whether they're fast growing, whether they're shade, whatever. I was talking to a friend of mine that's kind of a gardener, and there was like, oh man, there may be places that will get you trees. What you really want to have there is something ideally in a gallon pot. A bare root, seedling is not that likely to last very long if it's not in the ground pretty quick. So that it could become either that versus it becomes a multi-step process on our end that we're getting the bare root things in. We're maybe trying to see if Lowe's will give us a bunch of cheap little plastic things and we're potting them and keeping them up for the event, sitting on the pots, but something like that. But,
Yeah.
we get,
get some
it's
guest
$79
speakers.
for 50, we could get a couple of 300,
Oh, yeah.
which is probably way more than we would need, and it doesn't really touch the budget that much. Some cities have it just like a drive-through. You drive through, and the mayor hands you a tree, and you drive off. But I think it's something that makes a lot of sense for a park board to do, because somebody had that good idea that I hadn't had yet. I'm sure I would have got there.
I just think it's something a lot of park boards do. So, my background, that's something we started out just like this. In
Yeah.
the beginning of September, thinking, how do we start with some activity, right? And Arbor Day was coming up. We partnered with Encore. Encore donated us 300 saplings. Little bigger pot, and we got them from Phantom Tree Farm. Encore donated them. Somebody just reached out. Somebody had a connection. Fairness, I had somebody that was the VP of the Texas Tree Foundation. So, but it was just about making those connections and those phone calls. They donated 300 saplings. We gave them away and planted a couple in our park, right? It was
Yeah.
that simple. Like, it was just everybody come out, you get a free tree, and it's a place to start, right?
Yeah.
Because it takes a while to get people used to having some kind of annual event. And it's hard to start at the top of what an annual event might look like until you understand kind of really what people, and it grew into more of a educational process. You got the tree, but you got the tree after you sat and listened to an arborist talk about what trees
Yeah.
are good for this area and, that kind of stuff. So it's usually a relatively easy event and sometimes can be done at no cost to the Parks Board. That
Right.
first year we bought trees. The next year we got Encore to donate the trees. Atmos gave me trees one year. Atmos did a bunch of work on my golf course, and so in exchange I said, instead of you replanting this many trees, give me money and I'll go buy trees. And so they made a donation to buy trees for Arbor Day. I've also seen, I wish I could remember, I need to ask Amy, at some point when I lived in Rockwall, the Rockwall Parks Board did an event, but I killed the tree real dang quick. But you had to track the tree. So you had to actually go on to a map and tell them where you planted the tree. And then they emailed me ever so often and wanted updates about how the tree was doing. Because the whole goal of that, right, is to increase the shade.
Yeah.
Reduce the overall temperature of the ground. And so, but I killed that tree real darn quick. I'm pretty sure I didn't plant it right. But anyway, I reported real quick that it died. But it was this whole tracking thing.
Yeah.
I had to track it every year on Arbor Day.
Yeah.
I had to say, hey, here's the status of my tree. This is where it's planted in my yard. But I can't remember Amy might remember who that tree came from. But, really looking to see if you can find a partner to do that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I Googled real quick, where can I get trees for Arbor Day, and 5 or 6 different places came up, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I like that we could make this an event. We could have an
Yeah,
arborist come and speak. We can do several things.
And I feel like having something that repeats annually is the success of July Fest and
Yeah.
the success of the
Yeah.
parade and the success of those things. That when we have one-offs, we don't necessarily see the crowds we want, but I think that you want to build something people,
Yeah.
The Forestry Service is who gave us those trees and then made us track them.
okay. So from an event standpoint, I like that idea. And I don't know whether we would want to try to do something this November or not. I'm a
Do
little
something
bit.
what?
I don't know if we would want to try to do something small this November or not. I'm shy about that because I'm going to be traveling a lot over the next couple of months, but.
No, I
But,
kind of like, April. We could plan something for April.
Well, in Texas, they have Arbor Day in November. So
November.
were there other places that had it in April? Because pretty much everything here is November.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The nationally Arbor Day is April. It's the fourth Friday in April. But I didn't see any Texas events in April. I didn't see a specific date exactly. And I even saw sites that said November 1st is Arbor Day in Texas. I saw the first Friday in November is Arbor Day in Texas, so
Well, I'm not sure
probably have to
about-
go look at the Capitol to find out for sure.
Yeah.
But ours will be a Saturday, I bet anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
We're gonna-
Taylor Parks and, I don't know where Taylor is, but Taylor Parks and Rec is doing theirs like Saturday, November 8th. So,
I mean, we could do that if we just stuck to just passing out the trees, the samples, but I don't know that we could get an event together that quickly.
yeah. Pittsburgh, Texas is doing theirs
Yeah.
October 28th. The A&M Forest Service is doing theirs October 28th.
Yeah, and I had some listed on there, Argyle and Louisville and some folks like that were doing
Yeah.
stuff, Duncanville.
I just pulled up the
But-
Forestry Service to see when theirs were.
Yeah, I think if we were to do something this November, we wouldn't even, I don't think we would get, I don't know that that's enough time to even try to gather up some trees. We could gather up a tree. We could have a tree planting in the park, I think, and do,
Sure.
put something around that.
Sure.
Or we just say it's gonna be a 2026 thing,
Yeah.
but,
How we want it? Trees are actually relatively easy to buy, right? We can buy them
Yeah.
relatively easy if that's something you want to do quick.
Yeah.
Or you wait until next year and kick it off with a bang. Up to y'all. So
Okay.
and I think for, purchasing stuff, we kind of, with the recent discussion we had, there was a lot of stuff that we looked at doing, but I guess a lot of the things we were thinking on, ended up really being out of budget.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think
Right.
shade structures is something in general to think about, because when I hear comments about the park, you'll hear there's not that much shade, and that can either mean trees, but then you run into how are we going to keep them watered, or shade structures, which is, how are we going to pay for them? And it's probably a little outside our budget for that kind of thing,
Yeah.
but, we had that, we had the seesaw, we had,
Right. And actually, I was over in Maybank the other day at the pavilion and the little park there. They have a really cool seesaw.
Yeah.
I took some pictures of it too, so. But,
the 8 has concrete, cornhole boards.
Yeah.
And when I looked at those, it's like, okay, I like cornhole, but I don't, permanent, I gotta go play them, see whether they
Yeah.
play right. But, something like that is kind
the
of
park
low
in Athens
maintenance.
has a bunch of concrete ping pong tables.
Yeah,
concrete ping pong table.
yeah, and those. could be
Downtown
nice.
Garland. Downtown Garland installed some of those as well. That's something that just kind of
Yeah.
odd things you put around a park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing my Boy Scout isn't going to show up, but I'm sure you forgot. He's had a little chaos at school. But the Gaga Pit is one, and we can
Yeah.
kind of jump around if you
Sure.
don't mind. What he wants to do is build a Gaga Pit.
Oh, okay.
I don't know squat about Gaga Pit Ball. I don't know what you even call it, but they have built one at Tamarack, and he lives in that neighborhood,
Yeah.
and they've had a couple tournaments, and he wants to build at least one, maybe two, to put at the park.
I'm gonna go
Ah.
drive over there and
They
go
can
check
be
it out.
moved apparently,
Yeah.
so he can get all the wood and stuff donated. He needs help buying the cover, maybe, there's a thing he has to have
Yeah.
that you can only buy from the Gaga Pet World. He was gonna explain all this, cause he
Goodness.
tried, and I was like, I don't understand. But I can Google it, you know, and show it, I've never played it, it is something a lot of places have.
It was one of the things I brought up during our funding discussion a couple of months ago. I can say our lodge runs a kids camp down in the hill country with tons of activities, including like an Olympic-sized pool. The favorite activity by far by both boys and girls is Gaga
that's
ball.
it?
Gaga
Kind
ball.
of. He's gonna actually build it with like lag bolts so that it could be taken apart and moved. Like if we had an
Yeah.
event down by the amphitheater, provided the ground was flat enough, you could take it apart and take it down there. But it is the gist of what he wants to build, and I guess you play it inside. And
Yeah.
he said, Angie, it's like dodgeball with your feet.
Yeah. It's wildly popular. It's skin knee prone, big time.
So how many people would get in there to play at a time? Any idea?
I don't know if there's official numbers, but it's
Okay.
it's a little crowded.
Yeah, okay.
Because you're kind of knocking people out of the pit. Everybody's in there and then you
Yeah.
do your thing and you get
Yeah,
sent away.
Like, I think that's more what he's thinking. And he was willing to build two. So there's a packet of information that you guys can each
Yeah.
take one of the top ones. That's kind of his information. He came to a meeting and did the pledge. He needs to do a
Yeah.
Eagle Scout project. And so he and I have been kind of working through it. I thought he was gonna be here today. I should have communicated with him today, but it's been kind of a crazy day, so.
are you gonna invite him to the next one?
I will,
Okay.
yes. But
Okay.
he's kind of thought through this, he has a budget. I even said, are you gonna help me schedule some tournaments if I do this thing? Can you find me some people?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's about your age. He's a sophomore at Maybank High School. His mom and dad work full-time. His dad had taken off last time. His dad works in the maintenance department, and he had just taken him off last Monday to bring him to meet with me. So I'm sure it slipped his mind, and you know how that is when you tell a kid something, right? We've all had them. So you know what that looks like when you say, I need you there on this Monday at 4. Okay. Never, mom probably never found out. Mom picked him up from school. So I think he needs a little financial help if that's something the board
Sure.
wants to help with. But he's gonna try to get a donation of
Oh,
the
that's
lumber.
$4.05. That's softball. Oh, okay. Okay, so, I want to bring something up, since we're talking about future projects and the budget and all that. And, I may sound like a broken record, but, if there is any way that we could figure out how to put a sign at Main Street, and maybe this isn't a park board thing, I don't know, but a sign showing where the park is. I have a neighbor that just moved in across the street about 3 or 4 months ago, and she's trying to put a disc golf in her yard. And I said, we have a disc golf at the park. What park? They don't know. I run across this all the time. People have no idea that there's a park back there. So I explained to her what all we had at the park, where it was and all that. And I just think the park is really missing out on having a sign out there showing people where it is.
I'll need to talk to TxDOT. If it was a city street, that's a give, right? It's
Sure.
easy. State highway's a little harder to put signage on.
Yeah.
So I can talk to TxDOT if you want and see what their feelings are.
Okay.
And there's one on 198.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's
there's one
already,
that way. That
I
one,
mean, that's,
Yeah.
is that state also?
Yeah, that's state.
Um,
They have cracked down though on, they call them monument signs or entryway signs directing people, but I'll ask, I'm
Okay.
happy to ask
Okay,
if that's an option.
that would be great.
I don't know what other signs are right there, so I would have to look,
There's a
because
sign for the church, kind
Typically
of at the
you-
corner.
partner with them, but I can look and see.
Yeah, yeah.
And Gilbert, you'd mentioned a show board. What are the possibilities of getting the electric kind where you update it? I mean, I don't know, if that's really expensive or?
They are extremely expensive. We have a business about to put one in, it's about $24,000. So they're extremely expensive. The other thing is we have to think about how do people get their information and what are we gonna put on it and who's gonna monitor it and all of that,
And
right?
do the updating,
Yeah,
right.
who's gonna update it, who's gonna make sure the information on it's current.
Yeah,
A map of the park is a great idea, along
Yeah.
with trail, I mean,
Yeah.
those are easy, you can have those made, iZone
Yeah.
does them all the time. But that bulletin board style, how are you gonna decide who gets to put stuff on it and who doesn't, isn't gonna be monitored, so there's some
Yeah.
rules that come along with that. What happens when somebody takes down one person's to put their own up, and, so there are some rules there we would just have to talk, I'm not saying it's good or bad idea.
Yeah, I-
But that electric,
Yeah, I was just
that electric
curious.
sign
Yeah.
is, I can't remember the exact measurements, but it's about $24,000. So,
yeah.
I just envision some kind of a colorful sign there on the corners so that
yeah.
Yeah.
people know where it is. That's,
Yeah, I need
Right,
to ask
right.
TxDOT about it.
okay.
Yeah, the one on 198 is just like, what, the
little
green
blue
or
sign,
whatever, like a
yeah.
green highway sign. We could use a new one because it's
Yeah.
faded.
Yeah,
I haven't asked
but
because
yeah,
I didn't want them
definitely
to tell me to go
government
put that one down, but I'm happy to ask.
okay. Any other discussion on future projects, budget, purchases, events? I really like your idea about the Arbor Day. I think that's something we could really plan on.
Cool. I like trees.
And my question on that with the trees is maybe that would help a little bit with the shading issue around the walking track if we had, had some trees. I don't know if that's a possibility or if that would be a big nuisance for grass cutting and stuff like that.
Water
but-
is the problem in the park.
Watering.
Getting,
It is.
being able to keep them alive and.
Yeah,
It takes a little while for them to begin to provide shade.
yeah,
And
it
so
does.
by the time they provide shade, they're pretty easy to take care of, right?
Right.
Because they're kind of rooted in, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, we know if we just kind of keep some water slides around them.
Yeah, they get
They're-
water
they're gonna
for
get
sure.
water.
That's one of the challenges we have with the tree donation program is, that's great, but we have
Gotta
to
water
then,
'em.
yeah,
yeah,
plant them and then we have to make sure they stay alive.
yeah,
So water is a resource at the park that is a little bit limited, so.
yeah.
Have we
Well-
got some kind of map of our water supply and lines?
Roughly, yes, I do have a map.
Because it definitely touches a lot of the parks, so I'm sure wherever the pipes run or
They kind of run around the outside
opportunities.
edges.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense at all when we installed water, why we
Yeah.
didn't just go from point A to point B, because then you can branch off of that line. We
Right.
kind of ran around the outside. I'm like, oh, why do we have water here and we have water there? And we went around Sicily to get there. Like where if you had just gone a straight line,
Yeah.
you could have teed off of that and done some laterals to get water in a lot more places.
Do you want one?
His full packet is also there. If I can keep that original, that would be awesome. But I apologize. It's my fault. I should have reached out to his parents today and said, hey, don't forget. But his dad was with him and he said, oh yeah, no problem. So unless something happened at school today, so which is also a possibility.
Sure. Okay. Any other discussion? And then do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second. Thank you.
I will not be here next month.
I don't think I'm going to be
Oh,
either.
goodness.
Y'all make
Is-
sure.
Is it the 13th?
Y'all make sure and email Janet.
Oh, no, it's been changed.
It's
That's what I was thinking.
changed.
Is it the 20th?
It's,
For
yes.
some reason, I show P and Z on the 20th, but.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
it's been, the date's
ordinance
changed.
committee and-
It is the 20th.
Okay, I can be
13th is
here.
a
on the-
holiday, I think.
You won't be here for the 20th?
I'm gonna be gone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the 13th is a city holiday, and so the 20th is the next
Okay.
meeting.
Will you be here, Gilbert?
I can be here on the 20th.
Okay. And Frank should be back. I think Frank should be back, because he just,
Janet? Yes. That is the election.
The 20th is,
Starting the 20th, I think, is the election.
Okay, that's the day of our meeting.
Oh, I see what you're saying, I guess.
Now, PNC, it's not a big deal because they don't start till, what might be. I don't know what time early voting closes.
Eight to five.
So